There was no order in this courtroom as
we had a few people in court. We had a few people who kind of reported to us exactly what happened. And this is a really interesting situation here, Chad.
Y'all remember when we seen this come out of nowhere? You got the people, well, the ladies, ladies gonna rock hard for you when they rock hard for you.
Gucci Mane just made sure that Pooh Shiesty isn't coming home anytime soon. The next time we see Pooh Shiesty will be...
Pooh Shiesty's mom reportedly going at Gucci Mane inside the courtroom is what people started whispering after things got heated in one of the most chaotic cases hip-hop has seen this year. What really went down inside that courtroom hasn't fully come out, but the energy around this case has been intense, emotional, and unpredictable. Behind closed doors, you've got Pooh Shiesty fighting for his future, Gucci Mane at the center of serious allegations and speculation, and a family that clearly isn't staying quiet. This isn't just a regular legal situation, it's about loyalty, money, and a relationship that may have gone from business to something much deeper and possibly darker. And when emotions run that high, people react in ways nobody expects. Some say things hit a breaking point when the family got involved, while others believe the real story is still being kept under wraps. But one thing is clear, this situation has gone way beyond a typical industry dispute. Because behind the headlines is a federal case that could change everything. At the center of it all is Pooh Shiesty, once seen as untouchable, now facing serious federal charges. According to authorities, he's allegedly tied to a kidnapping, armed robbery, and conspiracy connected to a January 2026 incident at a Dallas recording studio.
10th of this year, 3 music industry professionals traveled to Dallas for a scheduled business meeting. Lontrell Williams Jr. arranged this meeting purportedly to discuss the terms of his recording contract with one of the victims.
What was supposed to be a simple business meeting quickly turned into something prosecutors are calling a calculated setup. Investigators say this wasn't random or impulsive. They believe everything was planned, from how the meeting was arranged to how things played out once everyone was inside. Authorities allege the situation escalated into a forced confrontation involving weapons, demands, and high-value items being taken. While details are still being argued in court, prosecutors are presenting it as a carefully executed operation, not a misunderstanding. And the stakes are serious. If convicted on all counts, Pooh Shiesty could be facing life in federal prison, which has completely shifted how fans and the industry are reacting. At the same time, his legal team is pushing back, saying key evidence either hasn't been made public or hasn't been fully presented, leaving people stuck between 2 different versions of the story. But no matter what side people believe, one thing is clear: this case is moving fast and the pressure is building. And what made things even more intense is who else prosecutors claim was involved. According to federal authorities, Pooh Shiesty wasn't alone, and they allege that his own father, Lontrell Williams Sr., may have played a role in the planning and execution of the incident.
Lontrell Williams Sr. is alleged to have helped plan and execute the federal kidnapping as charged in the complaint. And as described further in the complaint, within hours of leaving the Dallas studio, a number of the defendants were on social media displaying some of the items that appeared to be the jewelry that had been robbed.
That revelation alone changed how people viewed the entire situation. This wasn't just about an artist under pressure anymore. It turned into a story about family, influence, and how deep things might actually go. In total, 9 individuals were charged, including Big 30 and several others, prosecutors say, who were part of the operation. According to officials, this wasn't a one-person move. It was a coordinated effort involving multiple people, each playing a role. And that level of organization is exactly why federal prosecutors are taking such a hard stance. In fact, the government has already shown how serious they are by pushing to keep key figures in custody. While some co-defendants were initially granted bond or house arrest, authorities quickly moved to challenge those decisions, especially when it came to Pooh Shiesty's father. They argued that releasing him could pose a risk, which shows just how aggressively they plan to handle this case moving forward. And that's what makes this situation so rare and intense. It's not often you see a father and son tied together in the same federal case, both facing serious accusations connected to the same incident.
Shiesty, you cook, bruh. And after all this abundance of evidence, we didn't find out that everybody who got robbed, including Gucci Mane, is cooperating.
That dynamic alone adds a layer of pressure that goes far beyond the courtroom. Because now it's not just one career on the line, it's an entire family facing consequences at the same time. While the courtroom was filled with tension, legal arguments, and serious accusations, Pooh Shiesty's mother took a completely different approach, and the internet noticed immediately. Gladys Baines went live on Facebook for just over a minute. She didn't explain anything or directly address the charges, but that made it even louder. Instead, she played her son's track Shiesty Summer in the background, letting the music speak. Sitting beside her, someone looked into the camera and flipped it off, a small gesture that instantly set the tone. It didn't feel like a statement, it felt like defiance. Then came the posts. Within hours, her Facebook filled with short, cryptic messages that had people trying to read between every line. None of it clearly explained what was happening, but that seemed intentional. Some saw strength, others saw frustration, and many believed it was her way of standing behind her son without feeding into the accusations. Because sometimes silence isn't quiet, it's calculated. And while the world was waiting for answers, that silence only created more attention, turning a legal case into something emotional and unpredictable. As more details surfaced, the focus shifted to one big question: why did this even happen? According to prosecutors, the motive wasn't random. They alleged that Pooh Shiesty was trying to force his way out of a recording contract with Gucci Mane's 1017 label, and that the Dallas studio meeting was part of that plan. Investigators claim the situation escalated the moment he arrived, alleging he entered armed, confronted people inside, and demanded a contract release be signed on the spot. From there, the accusations get even more serious, with claims that jewelry, watches, and cash were taken during the incident. If true, it paints a picture of pressure, desperation, and a situation spiraling far beyond business. But this is where things take a sharp turn. His defense team has pushed back hard, arguing that key parts of the prosecution's case don't add up, or at least haven't been publicly proven. According to his attorney, there's no confirmed contract shown in court, no verified footage of any forced signing, and no clear physical evidence like weapons or stolen items tied directly to the accusations, as prosecutors describe. At one point, it was even reported that federal investigators had not yet spoken directly with Gucci Mane about the alleged incident, raising even more questions about what's confirmed and what's still developing behind the scenes. So now, the public is left with two completely different narratives. One side describes a calculated, high-stakes setup involving force and planning. The other suggests a case built on assumptions, missing pieces, and unanswered questions. And somewhere in the middle is the truth that hasn't fully come out yet. But the tension between Pooh Shiesty and Gucci Mane didn't start in that studio. Long before the legal case, there were already whispers about issues behind the scenes. And once everything went public, those whispers turned into full conversations. One of the biggest claims circulating is that Gucci Mane made millions off Pooh Shiesty's success while he was locked up and didn't support him the way people expected after his release. Those claims aren't officially confirmed, but they've been repeated enough to shape public perception. Some insiders suggest financial disagreements may have created resentment, especially if expectations weren't met on either side. Then there's the controversy surrounding Big Scar, where criticism surfaced about how that situation was handled, adding even more fuel to the narrative that relationships within the label were starting to fracture. When you combine money, loyalty, and public perception, things can turn personal fast. There were also reports that Atlantic Records may have tried to step in behind the scenes to smooth things over or restructure deals. If that's true, it suggests that tension had already reached a point where outside intervention was needed, but by then, it may have already been too late.